So
Have
now I shift us to the company we've created, the three of us, 3P Coaching and
Mm-hmm.
Solutions. So by way of background, I worked with you in Tantric Energetics as a participant, as said client, for 5 years, I believe, before we started talking about 3Peak. So on one hand, I say, wow, like I had such a benefit of learning and growing for us to develop, I mean, really strong bonds and trust. I mean, I think you know me inside and out, and I've come to learn you very well through the work we've done with each other. So on one hand, I can say I know feedback we get. I mean, we know it, but we get feedback from clients of, wow, the three of you always speak with one voice. It's almost confusing to them how one person can speak and it represents the three, and there's almost never any. That's never been the. It's always been the case. I've never had someone speak on behalf of us and it's not true. So they look at us and say it's astounding how much you are in unity, speaking with one voice. They see how united we are in our mission. So I say, okay, the 5 years we had where we were in that different relating dynamic supported us to create that whatever common language, common values, common tools. But I know when we were the first weekend, we sought to create 3Peak Coaching and Solutions. We were doing a big brainstorming. We had this amazing 4 days in Greece where we were driving around and figuring out if we wanted to do something, how we would do it together. And there was a point halfway through that kind of brainstorming exploration where I had like a mini freak out. I had my own meltdown because the two of you have already had these working relationships. You knew each other. There was a familiarity in how you worked with each other. And then here I was this third, and I didn't know my role fully. I didn't know where I belonged or what my responsibilities were or what I could share almost. And of course, I always have been struggling with self-doubt anyways. So that's a whole topic for a different episode. But it was interesting to see that, yeah, it's not like it started from this necessarily amazing place. And along the way, we've had to learn how to communicate. What has supported me is really more and more to figure out our roles in the company and how those roles need to interact with each other versus like the interpersonal relationship part is secondary to the role in within the company. So that's some of my takeaways is like, of course, we did have common values, common tools, ways of speaking with each other, certain understandings about whatever the emotions and the body, but we still had some figuring out to do in terms of roles and how to communicate within those roles. So that's my perception. Krisana, what do you think supports us as co-founders? There's three of us to remain aligned and to operate our company and to have, yeah, this harmony that we really enjoy.
Communication, healthy communication. That's really the first step. And also noticing when we feel the rhythm is out, there's a rhythm. So that's more of a sensing. So okay, we're in tune. We're sort of not in tune. There's no judgment. There's no about it. It's like an inner sensing, but basically it's really clear communication. It's about communicating. That's what we can say. We have our positions, we know our task, our skill set, our roles. And sometimes one is doing this and one is aware and it's all's going well, but it's communication because we're not static. We're in different phases and spaces. So it's really communicating where are we at? Is there something that needs to be discussed? So this is very, very key. That's what I'm going to say. Big one. If you don't communicate, you're on your own little islands thinking, I'm doing my thing, and it may not be the right
Mhm.
thing. And so say, hey, do we all have the channels flowing? Sometimes channels get blocked.
So can I ask, when you talk about communication, what does that look like? Because some people, they say, well, I talk to my co-founder. We talk all the time. But what does communication look like for you? What does that mean?
We can talk. We can talk blah, blah. We can talk business jargon. We can talk words about things, but many things, but we really have to communicate what is happening, what is going on. Is there something that's not moving, or there's a upset in the system of working, or a process, or we have to communicate what we understand, what we don't understand. We want to create this communion to stand under an understanding together. So communication is not talking, it's also deep listening, allowing the other person to really share and to really listen without resistance, without judgment, to really take in what they're saying without trying to analyze it, to give space. Because out of that, this communion, this communication can happen. And then we can also contribute what we've heard or what we understand is missing. So communicating to bring in the missing pieces. I hope I've shared
Yes.
my understanding.